Trucker Dump for January 11th, 2010. Happy New Year! Okay, that's a bit late. Episode 36, Health and Trucking.
Welcome to Trucker Dump, where you'll get one driver's insights and sometimes humorous views of truck driving and the trucking industry, and pretty much anything else he feels like dumping on you. This podcast is brought to you by AboutTruckDriving.com. Resources to help you understand the world of truck driving through the use of stories and a pathetic attempt at humor.
Okay, kids, welcome to the new year. Todd McCann here. First off, for those of you who subscribe to the blog, you may have noticed a post missing. The thing is, my last post was just a brief joke that I found funny. It was so short I didn't bother to give it its own podcast, so I thought I'd just read it here so you don't have to take a trip to the website. While having lunch, 5 surgeons from big cities are discussing who makes the best patients to operate on. The first surgeon from New York City says, "I like to see accountants on my operating table because when you open them up, everything inside is numbered." The second from Chicago responds, "Yeah, but you should try electricians. Everything inside them is color-coded." The third surgeon from Dallas says, "No, I really think librarians are the best. Everything inside them is alphabetically ordered." The fourth surgeon from Los Angeles chimes in, "You know, I like construction workers. Those guys always understand when you have a few parts left over." But the fifth surgeon from Washington, D.C. shut them all up when he observed, "You're all wrong. Politicians are the easiest to operate on. There's no guts, no heart, no balls, no brains, and no spine. Plus, the head and the ass are interchangeable." Okay, now back to our regularly scheduled program. Today we address a huge, literally, problem in the trucking industry. You know, I'm pretty freaking lazy. Most truckers are, and that's part of the problem. Finding a trucker who eats right and exercises is about as rare as a T-bone in a vegan restaurant. Steak. What? Where was I? Oh yeah. Let's check out health and trucking. I've been thinking about my health more lately. I'm guessing that it's got something to do with the fact that my father-in-law recently died twice during a fairly routine operation. Thanks to a couple of jolts of electricity, he's still around to torment me. Guess I didn't pay the doctors enough. I recently read where a doctor told a trucker that the average life expectancy of a truck driver after he retires is 7 months. 7 months? Gee, I'm hoping he's speaking to truckers that spend their entire careers behind the wheel and finally give it up when they're 70. I don't really know. What I do know is that it's really freaking hard to be healthy and drive a truck. The job itself isn't exactly a sweat-inducing full-body workout that produces glistening six-pack abs. Cripes, we sit behind a windshield all day and stare at the road. Go hang out at a truck stop for a while if you want to see the consequences of driving a truck for a living. Drivers who are stooped over due to bad backs, drivers who limp, and drivers with enormous front butts are just a few of the maladies. That's not even mentioning some of the more common unseen side effects such as hemorrhoids. Thank God that can't be detected by passersby. A beer gut hanging out from underneath a too short t-shirt is enough for this kid. Now that I think of it, maybe it's the old Hims that's causing all the limping. Ew. As with most health issues, it all boils down to those two things that make people unhealthy: diet and exercise. Or should I say lack of. Try this. Go into a truck stop restaurant sometime and look at a menu. Not exactly healthy fare, is it? Sure, there's usually a limited selection of healthy options, but you know the old saying, man cannot live by grilled chicken breast alone? Well, it's something like that anyway. Even if you could stomach the same food every day, it's expensive to eat in the truck stops. Another reason it's so hard to eat healthy as a truck driver is time. Granted, solo drivers have to shut down for 10 hours after driving for 11, so time isn't as much of a deterrent as it is for team drivers. The evil overlord and I can vouch for this. As a team operation, the truck can pretty much be moving 24/7 without breaking any laws. You know this, and your bosses are well aware of it too. Therefore, tight schedules often dictate how much time you have to eat properly. After a 3-year break from trucking, the evil overlord has been back in the truck with me for a little over a year now. Before she quit, we seemed to have plenty of time to eat right, even though we didn't always choose to do so. Because we didn't eat healthy most of the time, we both gained weight. When she finally decided to crack down on the eating habits, she went on a special diet which required her to do some light cooking and meal preparation. Back then, she always had time to do what was necessary, and as a result, she lost over 40 pounds. To her chagrin, I dropped down to my ideal weight too, but much quicker than her. Times have changed. I don't know if it's the poor economy that's affecting the contracts between carriers and their customers or what, but extra time is something we rarely have now. Nearly every load we run has very little extra time on it. Lack of time leads to bad food choices. If you don't have time to prepare your own meals in the truck, it's doubtful that there's time to eat from the healthy section of the truck stop menu either. They don't call it fast food for nothing. Yes, I know the fast food joints have a healthy menu too, but let's be honest. Who goes into the Jack in the Crack and orders a salad? Yes, we should, and we sometimes do, but more often than not, the smell of burgers and chili fries gets the best of you. So you can see that it is possible to eat a somewhat healthy diet even if you don't have much time. You just have to want it really bad. Now on to the second half of the problem, exercise. The arguments that apply to diet are also good for exercise. A solo driver has mandatory downtime, so all they need is a handful of willpower. They have time to walk, jog, run, jump rope, or even lift weights. As a solo driver, I manage to lift weights 2 or 3 times a week. The key is making sure you have access to a shower afterwards. That is, unless you don't mind whiffing your own BO. Even better, I've figured out a way to work out inside the cab of my truck. I've posted a couple of videos showing exactly how this is done on the blog. Go to abouttruckdriving.com, type videos in the search bar, you'll see it. Or you can find them on the YouTubes. My username over there is About Truck Driving. That's all one word. Every time I tried to do my workout outside of the truck, I always had a slew of drivers come up and interrupt me. Any excuse to stop the pain was good enough for me, so to stick with it, I devised a way to do it inside the cab. Plus, there's air conditioning in there. Now that I'm part of a team operation again, my workouts have come to a screeching halt, and what appeared to be pectoral muscles peeking through have turned into mini man boobs again. I don't need a bro yet, but I'll keep your digits handy, just in case. In the beginning, the evil overlord and I did try to walk for some exercise. Even back then, there wasn't enough time to cook and exercise. Cooking one out and 40 pounds less flabs seems to indicate that we made the right choice. Exercise nowadays? Utterly impossible with our time restraints. Sure, every now and then we might have a slow day with some extra time, but the only thing inconsistent exercise brings is unnecessary pain in places you didn't even know existed. Sorry, but that ain't happening. So it all translates to this. If you're going to drive a truck for a living and want to refrain from developing a fourth chin, you need to have 2 things, a willpower of steel and a set of tolerant taste buds. I'm thinking that a bip on the back of the head now and then from someone who cares about your health more than you do might help too.
Hey, yo, bud, where do you want this load of feedback?
Well, apparently everybody's still reeling from Christmas and New Year's, so didn't get many comments on the post about no guarantees in trucking. Like I said, it's Christmas, so I wasn't really expecting it. I got 3. The last one brought up a good point that I wanted to bring up. So let's get with it. First off, New Lindsay says, awesome post. Best Christmas present ever. Keep up the weird tangents. I love them. Well, Lindsay, weird tangents are us. 'Cause that's my bag, baby. Pam writes in and says, a very Merry Christmas to you and the not-so-evil overlord. Enjoy the time with family. Oh, and a big praise the Lord for the short post. Just kidding. Ha, yeah, sure, Pam. I knew you would appreciate the all-too-rare mini-post. Merry Christmas to you and yours, too. And lastly, Annette says, good points. I think I will definitely subscribe. I'll go and read some more. Well, Annette, I'm glad you'll go and read some more. But when you wrote this, it made me think of something. For those of you just coming in and maybe you've just discovered the Trucker Dump blog, if you want an easy way to read more, just go get the podcast. Sure, you could go to each blog post and click on the audio and listen to it that way, but you could also subscribe in iTunes, and it's a lot easier. You could just hit download all, hit play on your MP3 player or your iPod, and just listen to them back to back, if you can stand that much, that is. So anyway, we're getting back in the swing of things. Y'all should be recovered from New Year's Eve. So let's start hearing some comments again. And remember, you experienced truckers, I'm looking for you guys and gals. Bring it on. Here's the contact info. So how do you stay healthy on the road? Or do you? If you've got any tricks or tips to stay in shape, please type health and trucking into the search bar over at abouttruckdriving.com and leave a comment. You can always email me too at truckerdump@gmail.com if you got a question or comment, but this is really something that should be shared with everyone, not just me. I don't know about you, but I've seen enough trucker gut hanging out. Let's help some folks out here. If you'd like to reach me on Twitter, I'm at Todd McCann over there. That's 2 D's, 2 C's, and 2 N's. If you haven't already, you can subscribe from the website or the podcast specifically from iTunes. You know the name of it. Thanks for listening. So until next time, drive safe and stay out of my way.